there, I'm Denise. I'm a business broker and serial entrepreneur, and I've got lots of experience buying, selling, and scaling businesses. So if you're a business owner looking to sell, an investor looking for your next opportunity, or just someone who loves learning about business deals, you're in the right place. So stick around for some expert insights, real-world strategies, and behind-the-scenes look at what it really takes to buy and sell businesses successfully. Don't forget to hit that little button at the bottom and subscribe so you never miss a tip, and that could help you make your next big move. What are the key mistakes that sellers make when going to the market with their business? Well, there's a few. So let's talk about today. So one of the major mistakes business owners make when they're ready to exit from their business is not having proper financials. And what I mean by proper financials are the things that if you were going to go apply for a loan that the bank would want to see. So such as 3 years tax returns, 3 years profit and loss statements, 3 years of balance sheets, and then a year-to-date profit and loss and balance sheet. And it's really key that all of those coincide with one another. Now, there are times that the tax accountant makes some different distributions on the tax return, but the top number and the bottom number need to match. And if he puts in depreciation, that's fine. Absolutely, we want to see that on there as well. And that might not be on the P&L. So those types of things are okay, but it would be great if the accountant went back and updated those P&Ls. So having tax returns and P&Ls and balance sheets that are prepared by a CPA is absolutely the best way to go. I'm not saying that you can't do it yourself. For a smaller company, absolutely you can. But let's make sure that those financial statements and tax returns look similar, if not exact. That's really the key to the making sure that you're not making the first mistake. And having the financials in order is what you want to do so that you can make sure that you're not making the very first mistake in selling a business. Now, let's talk about what's on those financials. It's really important to have a profitable business because what you keep in your pocket at the end of the day is what is going to be the driving force of the value of your business. And we want to see where you're paying yourself, where you're paying all your bills, that there's a profit at the end of the year. And we do add back in depreciation because that's a non-cash item. So that won't count against you. So don't worry about that. We do add back in interest payments and amortization. And so those type of things, those can be added back in. But buyers are very sophisticated and they want to buy a business that is successful, that is profitable. So having financials that prove that your business is thriving is really key. So be careful about personal expenses that you have got accustomed to writing off because there are certain loopholes that the IRS allows for business owners such as myself and you that are allowed. But sometimes business owners get a little aggressive on those personal items that they write off. So, I would highly recommend in the last few years before you're ready to exit that you kind of slow down on those expenses that we as business brokers call add backs as we're going through the financial statements. Now, we do add those back and we can show the buyers and the SBA lenders, but if it gets too much, it gets overwhelming for everybody and it gets messy. So the less messy deals are, the faster they sell. The second mistake that business owners make are not having key employees in place. The business just can't be about you. And I know it's hard to hear as entrepreneurs because we are the business a lot of the time, but we need to make ourselves less important as we get ready to exit. Buyers need to know that they can step into your shoes or that you have people there that you've already set up for success and that there is less risk of losing customers and vendors and employees because you've already started putting people in the middle between you and so that they can see that, okay, this business is already thriving and surviving without the owner's complete direct interaction. So if you can afford it, I highly recommend that you start getting some key people in place. The third thing that business owners make mistakes about, and this is after we list the business, I've seen some business owners do this and they decide to stop running the business. They said, well, I have it listed with Denise. She's going to sell it, so I don't have to continue to operate it. Oh, wait a second, Mr. Owner or Mrs. Owner. That's not really the case because as we proceed, we need to see that that business is successful still up until the day before closing or as of the day of closing. We need to make sure that you're keeping everybody and your employees, your vendors, your customers all happy, that you haven't lost anybody, and that those revenues continue to be at the level they were when we listed the business. Unfortunately, I've seen where business owners decide, well, it's time to start celebrating and going on vacation. I'm selling my business. But, only 20% of businesses that go to the market actually sell. Now, that is the industry standard. I do personally have a higher percentage, but unfortunately, the reality is you go to market, you may not sell that business. So why would you stop running the business? You need to continue to run that business as well as you did the very first day, and that will increase the odds of selling your business. So please don't stop running it. Don't take your eye off of it until closing day and the money's in your bank. Fourth mistake is also post listing agreement, and that is not updating your potential buyers and your if you're working with a broker, any changes that is happening with the business. Maybe you got a new contract, maybe you lost a contract, maybe your general manager left. Those are kind of key things that need to be discussed and disclosed, because the sooner that those issues are brought about, the easier they are to overcome. So speaking of which, there are no secrets when you're selling a business. Everything is out in the open. There are no elephants in the room because we need to get those out sooner than later. The worst thing that you can do is try to hide something from either your broker or the buyer and say, oh, well, I'll just tell them about it later. I'll tell them about it at closing. And it could be an issue that will stop you from closing. So if you feel like there's something that needs to be discussed, discuss it now. The sooner you get it disclosed, the sooner that you get it discussed, the easier it is to overcome it. And if it's not able to be overcome, well, you know what? It wouldn't have been able to be overcome at the closing table either. So why waste the time and the energy of yourself and everybody else by not disclosing something? So I always say disclose, disclose, disclose. Most issues aren't as big as you might think and can probably be overcome. And with time is easier to sometimes resolve. Next big mistake is sometimes not having a good lease. I have seen this all too often where the business is really reliant upon a location. Business owner has allowed the lease to go into a month to month, has signed leases that are not assignable or transferable, have signed leases where there's a major clause that says if it is assigned, there's a huge fee involved, and things of that sort. So when you go to list your business, let's review your lease right away. A full entire copy should be given to your broker so that they can review it to see what type of circumstances are they dealing with. Is there any options? With the lease also, SBA, if you go to sell your business through the SBA route, they're going to require a 10-year lease. Well, is your landlord willing to give the tenant a 10-year lease? No, it doesn't have to be one straight flat 10-year lease. It can be a 1-year lease with 9 1-year options. It can be a 5-year lease with 1 5-year option. But 10-year lease is what's going to be required by the SBA to qualify a buyer for your business. So let's figure out right now if the landlord is going to be willing to do something like that. That will be important because we don't want to go down the route and get somebody SBA pre-qualified to find out that the landlord will not comply. And that can blow up a deal real quick. So provide a copy of a lease right away. Let's get that out. Let's start talking to the landlord. Let's find out what their requirements are going to be for a new tenant. And lastly, the biggest mistake that I also see is not finding the right broker to deal with or trying to sell it themselves. Sometimes I get sellers that say to me, they come to me after a year or two of trying to sell on their own. Oh, well, I still have this company that is interested in buying my business. I've been talking to him for a year now. Well, Mr. Seller, I'm sorry to tell you, if you've been talking to them for a year, they're not buying your business. But you know what? I'll exclude them if that makes you feel better in case they do come along. And I could be shocked, but I haven't yet been. That's the problem with trying to sell the business yourself is there are certain things that as business brokers we can say to certain buyers and we have the experience of knowing who the serious buyers are and who are the tire kickers who's trying to just find out your secrets of your business and how we make sure that your secrets aren't given out. So, making sure you hire a business broker and not a residential or commercial broker. Even though in the state of Florida it's a law that I am a licensed real estate broker, how I work and how a residential broker works or even a commercial broker works is so opposite of one another. When you list your home with a residential broker, what is the first thing they do? They put that sign out in your front yard. Well, we would never do that. Everything that we do is completely confidential. It's our job to sell your business without anybody knowing what your business is. And I love doing it. So we describe your business, but not in too much detail. We explain your business, but not all the specifics or your trade secrets. No pictures are ever taken of your business. Your business name is not out there. People must sign confidentiality agreements. So those are the key reasons. Confidentiality is one of the main reason why you should hire a broker and not try to go it about yourself or upon yourself, and why you should hire the right broker. Well, thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. I am Denise Houghtaling, known as Denise Sells Businesses. I've been a serial entrepreneur myself. I have bought and sold 6 of my own businesses, and I hope you enjoy the video. And thank you for listening. What I've explained in the video is just a small piece of the puzzle, and there's a lot more to know. So if you're a serious business owner looking to sell, or a buyer looking to buy, or a business owner wanting to scale their business, click on the link below and feel free to schedule a call with me. I'm happy to take you to the next level.